It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Well, good morning to you, race fans, and welcome to the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. New winter hours are in effect. Head over to joeskarting.com for a full list of hours of operation now that it has turned a little chilly and Father Winter is here. I say that, and yet it's been beautiful the last 2 days. It's going to be a gorgeous week this week, and the Iowegian in me and the Midwestern in me, I just can't wait for that first snowstorm. But I'll take this nice weather for a couple more days. So joining me in studio, Lee Ackerman and my co-host Dirk Houston. How you doing this morning, Dirk?
Just fine, Dan. Just fine. Enjoying the weather like you are.
Exactly. And Lee, you're helping us out this year with the Legends of the Dirt series. We did a couple of interviews earlier this week. We already got Larry Moore, Larry Eckrich, Bob Hill, Dale McDowell, Lonnie Jensen done. We've also got Danny Lasowski. We've just got a couple more left to do, and the Legends is all wrapped up for the year. And all we got to do is play them.
It's a lot of fun to do the Legends and hear about the good old days.
Yeah, we got a great show lined up for you today. Turn 1, we're going to talk about a little NASCAR news and notes. Just a little segment as we kind of get ready for turn number 2, which is going to be Kevin Presky of the Midwest Dirt Track Legends. And he's got a Facebook page that it's kind of a great place to get together and kind of share some old memories and keep up to date with some of these legends. And Kevin joins us, kind of talk a little bit about that. And then Larry Moore joins us in turns 3 and 4 to help kick off the Kaziski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt series. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We're talking about a little NASCAR news and notes, and I asked Lee to kind of sit in on turn 1 here while we're waiting for the Legends to get kicked off here in a little bit. But your son Tom works in the Camping World Truck Series quite a bit, and he's got himself a new job.
Yeah, he's spent most of the last 10 years, he's been in all the series, but he's in the truck series. And a few weeks ago, he took a job. He was an engineer at Kyle Busch Motorsports. Before that, Brad Keselowski took a job at Gallagher Motorsports as the technical director. So he's technically in charge of everything that happens with the trucks, and probably they do some other stuff as well. So he'll probably be building cars and trucks, and I think it's something he's really going to love, the challenge.
You think that's going to be more of a shop duties rather than race day duties? Or will he be at track?
It will. He talked when he called and told us he was strongly considering this position. One of the things he said was that, he may not travel very much. And since I talked to him last week, he's busy working on they do chassis, they hang bodies, they do a lot more than I realized, besides having 3 full-time trucks next year and a few Infinity races. So I think it's going to be something he's going to enjoy, and I think after, if my count's correct, 500-plus NASCAR races in the 3 primary divisions, he's probably ready to quit traveling a little bit.
Well, and he's got that girlfriend. Are they married yet?
No.
No, not married yet?
Maybe the longest engagement in history. I don't know.
Well, she might have wanted to wait until he was home a little more consistent, decide if she wanted to actually hook up with him. So maybe this will be the test.
Well, I think part of it, he's starting to realize, that she's pretty special to him.
Yeah.
And now he's got somebody to enjoy life with. So I think his direction's changed a bit.
Well, cool. He was on the truck that actually won the championship this year.
He
the Ford
was
truck,
there.
Right?
He was there until the last 3 or 4 races, and then some sensitive information came along, and he told them, "Hey, look, guys, I'm not going to be here next year." It was actually about 2016, so he got over to Gallagher and started early. In fact, he crew chiefed one of the trucks in the last 2 Camping World Truck races. So.
Now, you mentioned the sensitive material that came across. Was that sensitive stuff that the Ford team was having, or was it Gallagher was sending him sensitive material and he just didn't want to?
It was actually information, if I remember correctly, that actually came from Joe Gibbs Racing, who Kyle drives for.
Okay.
That came over, and I don't remember how it applied to the trucks.
through the Toyota pipeline, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And again, Toyota's got Toyota does a tremendous job of supporting, their vehicles versus some of the other.
I remember you saying that was a big reason why he made the switch this year, was because he felt that the technical support was much better at Toyota.
Well, he was at Brad's for 2 years, and they got very little support. In fact, Tom actually flew to Detroit a couple times. He helped design quite a few of the parts that went on the trucks, the upgrades or whatever they were changing when he was at Keselowski. So, Toyota just is in a different world when it comes to support. You go to the track, Dirk can tell you this is a TRD guy standing behind every truck.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. There's one at each truck. And when I did the truck series, and again, I've been out of it for 10 years, but you had, like I said, 24 Toyota guys there for a dozen trucks, and you had one Ford guy, one Chevy guy, and one Dodge guy. Dodge usually had 4 or 5 until they got out of it. They had a bigger contingent, and that's why they were so competitive.
That's about the way it was.
So I'm still kind of stuck on that sensitive material, and I think I'm leading it down the right path, but I want to make sure. But so instead of taking that sensitive material
I think he felt that he would be privy to information that he wouldn't be around to work on, and that wasn't fair to them.
That's what I'm getting at. And a lot of people would say, I'm going to go ahead and take this information, and that's going to be something that's good in my notebook. But he said, nah, that's not right.
And I don't know if it's a big deal. I know he was ready to go over. He wanted the challenge. He's going to be doing a lot broader things, although some of it he's already done. As I say, he designed, as I was telling you earlier. He modified one of Todd Bodine's trucks in 2010, and that truck was a firecracker. I mean, they won 4 races, never finished out of the top 5.
In the 12 races it raced in.
Exactly.
And you were also telling me, was it Mike Benson that brought him over on this
Mike
deal?
Beam, who years ago was Bill Elliott's crew chief, and he's done many things.
So when had Tom worked with him before?
He did. I don't think he did.
Really? Okay.
I don't remember him ever working with Mike Beam.
Because I know Mike.
But
when I was in the truck series, Mike was in the truck series as a crew
yeah.
chief for several different teams. So,
but that's as you know, that's a small world, and everybody knows who's doing what in the truck series or the Infinity or the Cup or whatever. So
we'll have to see if we can't get Tom. Do you know if he's going to be making his way this way for holidays or?
I don't know. Doesn't sound good, especially with a new job.
Yeah.
He's a workaholic. That's part of the problem.
He got a pay raise, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah, big
Good.
pay, nice
Good.
pay raise.
Good.
No, a lot of those shops, and again, it sounds like he's in a big shop, but I know a lot of the smaller shops usually close down that 2 weeks around Christmas and New Year's. That's their vacation, and everybody knows it. So
I would guess, given the magnitude of what Gallagher's doing, I mean, they have 2 50,000 square foot buildings, and I was telling Dan earlier that they do K&N truck or K&N cars, they do Infinity cars, they do the trucks. And knowing how he likes to do the engineering part, I think he would rather do that than worry about going to the races. So
it's kind of Tom sounds a lot like Larry Moore that we're going to interview coming up. I was reading Larry's book early last week, and Larry was just very technical about making sure to work on just one single part and to make sure to get it just perfect, so that it would hold together, produce the right horsepower, the harmonics was there. Kind of sounds like Tom's kind of in the same boat.
Well, the one thing I've always wondered is where did he get this ability? Because it certainly didn't come from me.
So that'll be good for Tom. Good job for him. We're excited, really excited about that. We'll have to get him on the phone and see if we're maybe get him in studio or track him down at one of these tracks one of these days.
Maybe get some sensitive information from him.
There you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
Well, we got a little bit more time left in the break. Let's before we head into the break, let's talk a couple of news and notes from the NASCAR world. Joe Gibbs Racing expected to make several crew chief changes. Sounds like Darian Grubb's going to be out of a job again. Maybe not for long, but
I didn't read the article, but I did see where the headline said Carl Edwards and Denny Hamlin were going to get new crew chiefs. So
yeah, it looks like Darian's no longer. Well, the article says that Darian Grubb will no longer oversee the 19 operation for Joe Gibbs Racing, driven by Carl Edwards. Dave Rogers, who is currently the crew chief for the 11, is going to move over to Edwards' car, and it sounds like Mike Wheeler is going to take over as crew chief for the 11 car. He was the engineer, so that's the way that goes. Tony Stewart back in the news as he has filed a counter lawsuit against his insurance company. His insurance company sued him early a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, and said, your incident in New York with the whole Kevin Ward thing, we're not covering that. So they sued him. Now he's suing them back, so it's going to go back and forth. You get insurance, they don't want to pay it. What's the point?
Yeah, the truth, though.
Good point.
Yeah, it's
unfortunately.
Yeah, it's the insurance is such a smart system, but then again, it's such a profitable system that it's so horribly bad. Robin Pemberton set to leave NASCAR at the end of 2015, so just a couple more weeks left. They've already announced his replacement's going to be Scott Miller, who was over at Michael Waltrip Racing. Were you able to find anything about his? That was a pretty sudden departure. I mean, that almost sounds like a firing but not really. You know, like one of those things of like, hey, we're not firing you, but you're done at the end of the year.
Well, and like when you sent me the thing on Facebook and I read it, I sent you right back. I said Darby last year, now Pemberton this year. Maybe there's a little house cleaning going on. Maybe these guys didn't like the direction NASCAR's headed right now. Mm-hmm. It's hard telling, but you got two of your top guys on that circuit disappearing in 2 years. So there's something going on over there.
And it really felt like the last third, maybe even the last quarter of the season, right around the chase time, that there really began to be a lot of communication between NASCAR and the drivers and owners. That it almost felt like it was just renewed kind of communication between the two, because you've talked about it before, that it's always been my way or the highway as far as NASCAR was concerned, or at least as far as this latest regime is concerned. But now there seems to be a little bit of more of communication, like, hey, what would you guys like to see different? And one of those things we saw was the green-white checkered rule at Talladega. Now, it didn't work out in some drivers' favor, but that was something the drivers said, we don't need to go 3 white, green, white checkers. Let's just cut it down to 1.
Well,
and it saved, and maybe it saved owners money, maybe it didn't, but that was something that NASCAR said, you guys want it? We don't have a problem doing it? Let's do it.
I mean, there's been so many things where NASCAR has asked for input and then done nothing with the input.
Yeah.
And this time they listened to the input and, they fell flat on their face as far as I'm concerned. We've had that discussion before.
Well, I think it would be a completely different opinion had Dale Jr. won because of that rule.
No, not for me it wouldn't have. My opinion wouldn't have changed.
I think the fan base goes as far as Dale's results are. If a rule favors Dale winning the race, then the fans are going to love it.
Yeah, well, like I said, mine has nothing to do with that. I didn't have a dog in the fight, horse in the race, however you want to put it. Just with what I know about racing and the years I've been around it, to change a rule for one race is silly.
Yeah,
it's wrong, but they didn't ask me. So
well, I think
they never did. So
I think that first time they dropped the green, where they said they weren't at the start line or whatever, and that kind of clouded it even worse.
Because you've never had to be to the start-finish line for the race to start.
Exactly.
That's why they have the restart zone. Yeah, we had that old discussion a couple weeks ago.
I'm sure you did.
Let's just keep beating a dead horse. Iowa Speedway season tickets are on sale now. You can get your tickets at iowaspeedway.com.
Great season set up for them, too.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Season. Doubleheader weekends and everything. Awesome time.
I got to post this stuff on the Facebook page more often, but President Jimmy Small tried out for their local, I think it was the arena football team.
Iowa Barnstormer semi-pro team.
That was really fun because he got close to making it, and now he's doing this political run thing. They're doing a lot of really fun, creative things over there.
Well, I think Mr. Williams looked like he might be able to make that football team.
He's a big guy, and he's tough. I mean, I'm not saying like big, like lineman big. I'm talking big, like halfback, running back big.
He's pretty solid dude.
He's never. I don't think he's ever not found a gym near his home.
And they have such a great facility, great hospitality. It's a great place to go see a race.
You want to try and break in and you don't have the funds, maybe the extra funds to go and buy season tickets at Kansas, buy that season ticket at Iowa. It's the same drive. It's 170 miles from Omaha, right off the interstate. You can't miss the place. There's motels in the area if you're going to stay for the doubleheader. They've got camping at the track. They do all kinds of concerts, all kinds of fan interactive deals on their midway. It is a good time over there.
And they have a lot of fun stuff that you get with your season tickets. It's not just I bought season tickets, I get 2 seats or 3 seats or 4 seats or whatever. You get access to the Newton Club. You get exclusive driver access. You get a lot of really fun stuff when you've got season tickets. I've considered, before we got the show going, I considered getting myself season tickets, but then the front stretch came about and I said, well, I'll use the media passes and do a little work.
Yeah, and we're going to be giving away tickets over there, so we'll be doing that with our Fantasy Racing League.
Yep,
so.
The Pick'ems contest. Hopefully we'll do all that. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. Turn number 2. We're going to sit down with Kevin Presky and talk about the Midwest Legends Dirt Series.
Dirt Track Legends.
Thank you. It's too many words in a row. I just can't quite get it. We'll be back here on the front stretch.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
This is Andrew from Kaziski Auto Parts. Kaziski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kaziski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kaziski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kaziski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch. Heading into turn number 2, brought to you by Kaziski Auto Parts. Slipping and sliding. This is the time of the year. Get your car or truck back on the road at an affordable price with your arms and legs still attached. 51st and I Street in Omaha, 731-4592. We're talking to a man who apparently has a little hair on his tongue. Kevin Presky, how you doing, sir?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Oh, we are enjoying the morning here in the Midwest and finally a little sunny weather.
Good. Sounds good.
Where are you located at, by the way?
We're in Bentonville, Arkansas. That's the
Okay.
northwest corner of Arkansas, up here in the Ozarks.
Okay. I love the Ozarks. That's such a beautiful area.
Beautiful area, it really is, yeah.
I used to go down there every year for a family vacation. My sister used to have a condo down there, and so we used to go down every year, and I loved going to Mammoth Cave and Bridle Rock and all those different areas that are down in that area. And I've been to Table Rock Lake, too, before. I don't think I'll ever go back because there's quite a bit of spiders down there.
Well, it's all beautiful area. Just find another spot then. But there's plenty to work
I'll do
with,
that.
so.
Beautiful, crisp, clear water.
Kevin, did you happen to notice that they didn't mention a dirt track in the area, though?
Not many left right now, unfortunately. That's the bad part. So,
it's a dying breed, but we got to do what we can to get it back revived. We can make sure this does not go extinct.
Exactly.
I don't think dirt racing's ready to be on the endangered species list, but the stuff you're doing over there at the Midwest Dirt Track Legends Association is pretty awesome. Talk about some of the stuff you guys were able to do this year.
Well, we were able to have our get-together in Pleasantville, Iowa, back in April, and that turned out to be a really great time. Dirk was there, and got some video of it and did some interview with some of the guys over there, some of the legends from there, and unfortunately, we lost one of them this past couple of weeks there, Bob Trossel, who was a huge legend in the sprint car super modified field, and really miss that, but I'm glad to say I had a chance to really call him a friend the last 2 years. I got a chance to talk to him and meet with him and everything. So he was a big plus for our group and everything. Very informative, just a walking encyclopedia is what he was. So really going to miss him, really am. But I'm glad we were able to get together. And, this is what the group's all about. The legends are starting to pass on. And we're just trying to keep their memories alive for everybody for the future generations to come. So
I know. I got to meet Bob over there in Pleasantville, Kevin, and, got to talk with him just for a quick second. And he's probably forgotten more about racing than most of us will ever know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. He was a hero of mine growing up when I was living there in Des Moines growing up. And, if you just mentioned the word Bob Trossel, is automatic Knoxville, sprint cars, he was the legend. And then, like I said, last few years, I've had a chance to actually meet him in person and talk with him. And he always came to our get-togethers, and just a big plus, just a super guy, and really going to miss him. Really, just a really nice guy.
We had him scheduled to be featured in a couple of weeks for the Legends of the Dirt series, and obviously a sad note of his passing. So instead, we've decided that we're going to have Doug Wolfgang come on, as Doug was kind of a big part of, or Bob was a big part of Doug's success. So we thought, let's have Doug come on. But do you have a couple of stories of the last couple of years you could share with Bob about Bob Trossel?
Well, like I said, I just got to meet him at our get-togethers and all this, and I asked him to come, and I know he was having some medical problems at the time, but you know what? He made it a point he was going to come, and that was really great, and I'm glad he did. And with the help with the guys, Billy Dusenberry and the guys with the Mississippi Valley Racing Vintage Group, they all worked together, and they were real tight, and they made sure Bob made all these shows, and Bob was just tickled to death to be there. And so, it was just a really sad deal with him passing on, but got the memories, and we've got everything on video that we could too. So, it's we just move on from here, I guess.
Now, this get-together you were talking about, the Dirk went to a while back, is that something that's open to the public, or is that something that's closed to just members of your association?
No, our group is closed per se, but we have get-togethers like that. We did one in Springfield, Missouri, about 3 years ago, 3 years ago, and this one in Pleasantville we just had this past spring. If you're a race fan, come on, and if you're not a race fan, come on anyway, and we'll try to make a race fan out of you. And like I said, it's just you come around and you can just sit back and get you a cup of coffee or a Coke or something, and sit back and listen to the stories from back in the day. What I really like is a lot of these competitors, the legends, they'll be sitting there talking stories. Back in their days, they were competitors, at each other's throats. They wanted to win, but they can sit back and laugh about it now and everything. And it's just some great stories. It really is great stories.
Well, and anybody that's interested in this, go on to Facebook. It's Midwest Dirt Track Legends is the name of the page. Kevin's the administrator, and I know he's got some helpers, but as long as you don't do anything stupid or offensive, he'll let you join, and you can come in. There's always great pictures, a lot of great stories. Like Gordy Blankenship's on there about once a month, putting some kind of story on there from his travels and stuff with the racing, and those are always entertaining. And like I said, we had that gathering was last year that was a lot of fun. I know Tom Lathan's putting one together out in mid-Nebraska here for next March. So if you got vacation time available, you might want to come up for that. They got Kenny Schrader coming in to talk at his deal.
Oh, boy.
Well, that would be great. Tom's a great guy. He's added a lot to the group, too, and he's got a lot of knowledge and pictures and stories, too. Tom's top-notch in my book, and really like him. But, these get-togethers, that's what it's all about, just trying to keep the memories alive and everything. And our group, we're up to almost 19,000 people now, and keeps growing a little bit every week. And we just, like I said, unless you do something really stupid on there, what I've really liked about it is I can just kind of sit back and kind of steer the ship right now, because so many people have come on board and we've really achieved our goal in a way of getting these old pictures out of the basement and the garage and the attic. And a lot of these people that are coming on board are getting these new pictures out there that they've had stored forever. And it's really, really neat to see a lot of this stuff from back in the day. And, a lot of people say, well, there's a lot of groups out there, and there is, and that's great, I think. I don't look at them as competition. I look at them as doing the same thing we're doing. They're bringing more and more pictures out, more and more, stories. And, I love it. There's so much stuff out there now that I'm afraid would have been lost in time. And so it's really a lot of good stuff out there. So hope everybody keeps it up. I really do.
I certainly enjoy it. I mean, with everybody on the show that listens to the show knows that my history in dirt racing goes back a whopping 4 years. So it's really fun to be able to log onto my Facebook every day, and I've subscribed to whenever somebody posts something on your group that I get to see those pictures. And there's everything from, does anybody remember this race at this time, that great battle coming out of whatever for 15 laps, and it was a 5,000 to win race, but these guys were going at it like it was a $50,000 race, and all that kind of fun stuff. And I get to relive that stuff just by your group. So that's where I get a lot of use out of being a member of the Midwest Dirt Track Legends group on Facebook.
Oh, exactly. And I have people ask me, well, a lot of times I'll post a picture or two on there, and they say, well, why don't you put the name of the driver on there, or the name of the car, or whatever. And what I like to do is just kind of throw a bone out there, as far as the picture goes, and I like to have people kind of just chime in on it and say, well, I remember that car, and I remember who owned that, and I remember who bought it after he raced it, and this is where your stories come from, because it jogs a lot of memories, and that's what I love.
And it's a lot of fun, too, because you could do little contests on there, like who was the driver of this car, who owned this car, where was this in Victory Lane, those kinds of fun things. And I tell you, they don't last very long before they get answered. Right. And,
it's amazing how much people have in the back of their mind that they pretty much were about ready to forget about. And then they see this particular picture, and that's what got me into this to begin with, because I saw a picture or two of some people I saw from back in the 60s, growing up in Des Moines. I said, I forgot about that guy. And and it kind of jogged my memory a little bit, and I got to thinking about back in the days, but anyway, just we like to do that and throw a little humor in there from time to time. We kind of pick on people like Gordy and stuff like that. And but it's all in good fun. Like I said, as long as you don't get stupid and put porn or sunglass ads on it or something like that. It's all good.
And Kevin will watch the porns 4 or 5 times before he blocks it out of there, but he'll...
Where's my nitro pill at? You're killing me here.
We've been talking to Kevin Presky of the Midwest Dirt Track Legends Facebook. He has a group on Facebook. Just search it out, and I'm pretty sure Kevin will add you to it. Again, no sunglass pictures, and the porn will be taken down in a timely manner, I guess we've established. Kevin, coming up next to kick off our Legends of the Dirt series, we have Larry Moore. Do you have any good stories about Larry Moore? Did you ever get to watch him race or any contact with him?
As far as Larry goes, I got to see him run once or twice when he did a little bit of USAC stock car racing. As far as knowing him personally or ever met him, I never had the chance. But from what I've seen on there's lots of pictures and lots of stories on him. And if I'm not mistaken, he's in the Dirt Track Late Model Hall of Fame, if I'm not mistaken. So,
absolutely.
So he's one of the top notchers right there, too. So I would love to have met him, but I never have had the opportunity.
In this past summer, what's the biggest race you got to go see?
Well, I didn't get to do as much racing this summer as I wanted to, but the biggest one I went to is World Outlaws at Salina, Oklahoma, the Salina High Banks there. Mm-hmm. I got to see them, and then I just pretty much kept it pretty local the rest of the time with chances I had to go racing, so just the regular Saturday night races. So anyway, so it was. I enjoyed it. It's good to get out and kind of air it out a little bit, as they say, kind of air the stink off a little bit. So,
I wonder who won that World of Outlaws race.
Oh, man, you're checking with my memory. I only got 2 brain cells
well,
left.
I think you got like a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right if you just guessed Donnie Schatz.
That's
or a 1 in 3.
Would have been yeah, but I don't think Donnie won that night.
Oh, no.
With you. I was thinking it was Shane Stewart, maybe. It was an Oklahoma boy. I remember that.
That sounds familiar. I think I remember him winning one this year. He only won like 4 or 5 races this year, and he's racing for Casey Kane Racing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think he might. So. Well, we'll have to look back on our records when my computer actually starts working again. Kevin Presky of the Midwest Dirt Track Legends. Like him on Facebook. Follow his page. It's a great little organization that they keep up with that kind of fun stuff. Kevin, have a great day. Thanks so much for your time, bud.
Guys, appreciate it. Call anytime, okay?
Yeah, we'll be calling in the spring for sure, buddy.
All right. Sounds good, brother. Appreciate y'all.
All right. You have a good holiday.
All right, you too now.
So Kevin Presky of the Midwest Dirt Track Legends. It's a bit of a long name, but search it on Facebook. The page will come up, and it's really cool to check out some of those old pictures, all those old clips, and all that fun stuff.
Oh, they get some real neat archive photos and stuff up on there that's really cool.
Larry Moore coming up next for the Legends of the Dirt series presented by Kaziski Auto Parts. This is The Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100 plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch. Heading into turn number 3, it's time for this week's edition of the Kaziski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt series. We're talking with the man, the myth, the legend, and an author. How about that? We have an author joining us on the phone for the first edition of the Legends of the Dirt series, brought to you by Kaziski Auto Parts. It's Larry Moore joining us. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How you folks doing out there?
That's fine.
We're doing great, Larry.
Wonderful.
Larry
no,
was...
I'm not an author. I'm a co-author.
Oh, okay.
Steve Argerbright is an author. I was just trying to be a race car driver.
And a storyteller.
Yeah.
You told the stories, he cleaned them up.
Yeah. No, he probably put too much trash in them. I was real nice Christian boy. Didn't you read the first chapter? You didn't read the first chapter of the book?
I skipped that one.
No. Yeah.
It said, what is it, Christian boy? And I said, oh, bull.
I just wonder who he had. I wonder who he had to read the book to him. Dan doesn't read, man. He's from Iowa.
This was.
Oh man!
I tell you, Larry was nice enough to send me a copy of it, and I'm very excited about it. And I haven't picked up a book. I'm not kidding you. The last book I read was when I was in high school, and my dad gave me a book of it was Tom Brokaw's The Greatest Generation Speaks. I read about half of it, and I got tired of it, even though I'm a big World War II fan. I haven't put this book down since you gave it to me, Larry. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it, and I've enjoyed every bit of it.
Well, you didn't read the last chapter. It may be the best one. I think it's called Reflections, possibly. Yeah. I don't know.
I thought about skipping ahead to it, but I was like, I don't want to miss any of the details, and I don't want to ruin the ending. But
there's so much good stuff in that book, Larry. I mean, it's the history of dirt racing through the golden age, and it's so fun to read.
Thank you. Well, and Mr. Arterbright and I were doing it when we had enough pages for more. Or we had enough material for more than 600 pages, and he said, "Oh, we got to back up."
Well, now you got a second book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The name of the book is On Top of the World, The Life and Times of a Racing Pioneer, Larry Moore, and it was written by Dave Arterbright and forwarded by Jeff Purvis, never nervous Jeff Purvis.
That's right.
Who we've talked to before. Let's talk a little bit about your life, getting you started. Right off the bat, it's such a sad story right at the beginning of your life. Your father passed away suddenly when you were just 5 years old. Did that really kind of set you back emotionally as a child and developmentally?
Oh, I don't know. I just struggled a little bit off and on my whole life. I didn't hardly have time. I was such a on the go all the time, and I've always been just a person on the go. I mean, I'm wide open, and like people call today, you're running against a chip. I'm running against a rev limiter all times. So that's Larry Moore, but only occasionally would I really stop and look at it. I didn't, we were farmed out. When my dad died, my mother just was emotionally upset. I mean, she just couldn't handle life with 8 children, and 6 of us still at home, and so it was kind of a quite a deal. So all of us kids that weren't married, we went to live with relation or relatives, and I went to live with Ori and Eileen. Now they were Ori was my second cousin, Ori Blocker, and so. When I was 5, so I went to live with them, and they lived on a farm just down the road from my oldest sister, and she's old enough almost to be my mother. Mm-hmm. So, and my one other brother, Charles, he just died here 3 weeks ago. Charles went to live with Doris, so he lived on an adjoining farm, and so we lived there, and I would see him, but I wasn't born and I wasn't around the children of my life very much, and in fact there was very, very few. Only my oldest brother see me run one race, and that was in Trenton, New Jersey, when I beat AJ Foyt at Trenton in a USAC car race, and so most of and one of my brothers and one of my sisters see me race a few times, but most of my people they didn't go to world events, and they didn't go to old Durham Baptist. They didn't go to movies or watch TVs but they did have electricity. It wasn't like the Amish. I mean, the Amish, they wore a attire that kind of looked like Amish. The old Durham Baptist did, but we had electricity. I would say we had electricity, and we could have a fast car, but they couldn't have white sidewalls on them,
Well, so in one moment, you lose your father, you lose your mother, and you're separated from most of your siblings, and you go and live with Ora and Eileen, who raise you, but they don't really give you that parenting love, that feeling. It was much more of just a guardian kind of a thing.
Yes, and you don't really. You don't really think about that and stuff, but I would notice it some. I mean, when I'd go visit my buddies from high school, I'd go to their house, and you could see how they, so sometimes I felt a little, but I mean, big deal. They did a lot of wonderful things for me. I shouldn't have brought up anything even bad about Ori and Eileen, but because they were very, very wonderful people.
Well, I didn't take it. When I read that, I didn't take it as bad. It was just, they didn't have that emotional connection with you, and that's just the way it goes in life sometimes. It's not necessarily woe me. It's just we didn't have that emotional connection.
Yep. I mean, I think, kids get in trouble, but they still, they're still loved by their mother and father, and they get in trouble. And I just didn't ever feel that, I'm like, boy, I was in trouble.
Did Did you have trouble connecting with your children since you didn't have that connection with your parents, or was it just immediate?
You know, when my children were born, well, I was racing all the time, racing, you know what I mean? I just started racing and really getting into that. So they missed a lot of, I mean, I wasn't able to, other than on Mondays and Tuesdays and maybe part of Wednesdays, could I really spend with them much time, other than they growed up, you know, going to the races. But as far as me, spent a lot of time with them because I just worked on race cars and just knew racing wide open, you know. So they, you know, I started racing about the time they were born. So they were brought up under unusual circumstances also.
Yep. You've accomplished a lot over your racing career. You've won a lot. You've won at some very prestigious tracks. You've won little races and huge races. Your brothers and sisters have also accomplished a lot in their life. You actually talk about one of your brothers was a lead engineer on the first nuclear-powered submarine. Do you think that your racing career has stacked up to what some of your brothers and sisters have done?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't see how I could have stacked up with Ellery and a lot of, you know, I really don't know. I never thought about that. Ellery was, you know, he was my oldest brother, and I kind of looked it up at him all the time. But I mean, when I went to high school, if I had any problems and stuff, I would have, he would help me on the problems. And I know the teacher would go, like, one of the questions they'd ask when I was in geometry or trigonometry or something, I always took all the stuff. So anyway, you know, and he, you know, for one question, he'd give me two answers for the same question. And the teacher was amazed. He said, "Where'd you get that?" And I said, "Our brother Ellery told me that." That's two. It was a geometry problem, and so I give him two solutions for the same problem, and he was amazed. The teacher was, but I always looked up to him big time. But he was responsible. He was the lead engineer on a team of engineers that built the gyros that guided that submarine without radar.
Go back to the very start of your racing career. You said you got your start by racing on gravel against your buddies. How much did that teach you car control?
Oh, that was the whole thing. I was positive I could outrun them the first race I went to.
Because you were able to get through the corner a lot easier because you understood how the car is going to react.
Yes, I just, you know, practiced running sideways, you know, accurately.
Yeah.
You know, and so we'd do that, you know, but you got to remember back in the 50s, this was in the late 50s when we were running around on the northern Indiana. There's paved roads and you know, it was asphalt and the good gravel roads. So we'd run a whole tank of gas out. Then 3 or 4 of us go out through there, but at least two, you know, 2 carloads of us or whatever, you know, we'd race each other out through them, you know, week after week after week. So that's where I really learned how car control. It's kind of odd, but you have to remember back in the 50s, there wasn't hardly nobody on the roads with us at night.
Yeah.
Unlike today.
Today.
You know, you couldn't. No, kids don't pattern that out. Don't take that after anymore.
I know exactly what you mean. I used to race them old country roads, and I'd be out on a 4-wheeler, and thank God there wasn't another car on the other side of that hill, because I'd have been a bug on a windshield about 100 times had there been traffic like there is today.
Yes, that's for sure. Yeah, and the policemen, I don't know, they didn't even have radios with the sheriffs and the other police.
Yeah, you talk about that too, about how you used to pull up next to the sheriff, you'd gun your car and get him to chase you, and I'm thinking, oh, he'd get thrown in jail for terrorism nowadays.
I know. Well, I think Argerbright made that up, or surely.
Oh, surely he did. He took creative control on that. Hey, let's take a quick break. We've gone 16 minutes already. We got a lot more to talk about with Larry Moore as a part of the Legends of the Dirt series. You want to learn more about Larry? We're only going to scratch the surface with today's interview. You got to get his book, On Top of the World, The Life and Times of a Racing Pioneer. Where can they get it at, Larry?
DaveArgerbright.com.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back at turn number 4, and we'll continue talking with Larry Moore as a part of the Koziski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt series.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he's talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Koziski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Koziski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Just about ready to wrap this baby up. We're heading into turn number 4 for the Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series. We're talking with Larry Moore, which you can pick his book up, On Top of the World, The Life and Times of a Racing Pioneer. Larry, are you going to have some available at the PRA show this week?
Yes, I will. Yes,
Good.
I will. You
So
go
they can-
to probably go to either Sweet booth and ask them where I'm at, or go to Arizona Sports Shirts. That's in Indy, from Gerald.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have a booth there.
Okay.
Phoenix, the T-shirts, because we got new T-shirts out now.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Yeah, they got 13. He's got it is a wonderful T-shirt. I mean, and so it's it says On Top of the World on the front, and it's got 13 of my 97 different race cars I drove on the back.
Yeah, you did seem to travel around to quite a bit of different cars. How long did you stick with one car? What was your longest time in one car?
That'd be one car. I probably run it. Well, I don't know. I run the Pierce Brothers car a year or two. It'd be a year or two. The Pierce Brothers, I run their car. They had 2 cars. They had 2 Dodge Hemis. One of them Harry Gant built, and one of them Cotton Owens built for Marty Robbins. And so both of them was Dodge Hemis. And I drove for the Pierce Brothers and USAC stock cars for about off and on. I didn't run a full schedule, but I run off and on for 4 years. So that was, but most of the Paul's Pipeline car, the P1, I run it all year in 1979 and a little bit early in 1980 before I switched to a Rayburn car. But any one car, most of them, most years I would have, and from about 80 on, I'd have 3 or 4 race cars a year. I mean, we would take 2 to the racetrack with us. So there are a lot of races, a lot of big races there. A lot of people don't know that, but a lot of big races, like the World 100 and such, that we qualified 2 cars. They'd allow you to qualify 2 cars, and then once you made it through the heat, you would scratch your other car. Or, like one time at the World 100, and Billy Moyer did the same thing. We was leading our heat race in the car we really didn't run a World 100 in, and he pulled in, and this was a different year. He pulled in one year and to run the other car, leading the heat. I did it too, and then ended up winning the race, and so did he. He won the World 100 year. He pulled in his heat race. I did too. That takes. Excuse me.
Amen.
Don't worry, we'll edit it.
Yeah, we'll clean her up. No, that's not the worst thing that's been said on this show, so I think you're okay.
Not by any means.
Cojones. I should have at least said cojones, huh?
We had your buddy Schwartz on last year, so you're not going to embarrass
Oh, my goodness, Schwartzy. I tell you what, that Schwartzy was one, I mean, he was a thrill to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, he backed off the cushion and off the wall and other cars. He was a wild one. He's spectacular to watch now, I'm telling you.
We're talking with Larry Moore as a part of the Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series. This is the part of your career that I'm really fascinated with and I really enjoyed reading about was telling me about meeting Billy Howell.
Well, that was really something because here I'm working at, I'm building my own race car, 55 Chevrolet, and I'm building taking a 283 and making a 301 out of it, we called, and then Chevrolet had the same bore and stroke, and they called it a 302 because it was 301.8, so they just called it a 302. But anyway, I was working as a line mechanic in a Chevrolet garage. And a brand new Chevrolet garage in Richmond, Indiana. And at that time, I was just having me work on my race car, and the people that had the Sunoco gas station in Greensfork, Indiana, which is a few miles away, was letting me, I had to run the pumps, if anybody pulled up and needed gas, but I could put my race car on the hoist and use it and Billy Howe pulled up there, and I met him out there, and that was really something. He helped me build engines. I built my own engines for years, and he really helped me a lot.
Because he was the chief performance engineer for GM?
Yes.
So
yes.
He knew the ins and outs, and he was able to do a lot of dyno testing, and he was able to tell you these secret parts that you should use on your car.
Absolutely, and there was just a lot of parts Chevrolet had that most people didn't know. They'd look in the high performance section.
Yeah.
And he said, "Don't go there." He said, "You got to go in the heavy duty." That's what we call that.
And they'd hide them.
Big block.
They'd hide them over in the heavy duty section so that Ford and Chrysler couldn't figure out what was going on.
Yeah. Yes, and they, but they were in racing, big time, and they, of course, different manufacturers were at different times. They just didn't want everybody to know. But what was really neat was I'd find out a camshaft, and I'd find out so-and-so's running a such and such roller crane. So I called Billy, and I said, "Hey, this 356, this thing's badass, I hear." And he said, "Well, I'll have one tomorrow, and I'll run on the dyno next day." And he said, "Boy, that thing is," but he said, it's harmonics is bad. He said, "It'll break valve springs and stuff." So the guy knew, well, in fact, I found out the guys that did run that thing, it'd break the rocker arm stands off because it didn't have good harmonics. And well, Billy, he had a machine that would do that. The other people didn't.
Yep.
Since then, Competition Cams builds that machine, and so people can. Every one of the Cup teams all have one of those machines. Which Scooter Brothers owns Competition Cams, but he learned that from Billy Howe, really how to build that machine. To shows the harmonics. Of all your valve system.
You didn't always play it buddy. You were a little tricky every once in a while with some of the other drivers. Tell me about that story about tricking other guys into racing that Crane R356 camshaft you were just talking about.
Well, I just, my buddy, he had already gotten one, and he hadn't put it in his motor yet, and I said, "Oh, let me have that card." So I just took that card and laid it on my desk at the race car shop, And the guys would come by and they'd be looking, and they'd look over there on that card, and it was 356. Well, that was the one that was. I wasn't lying to anybody. I just had a card, but I'd see them peeking at that, figuring that's the cam I was running. Oh no, that cam.
And so they grenade an engine going down the backstretch.
Not my buddies. It's just people who happen to come by.
Well, Snoopy guys.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Putting their nose where it didn't belong.
My buddy. That was just sneaky guys that was trying to learn stuff.
Hey, Larry, out of all your wins, what was the biggest win? What was the one that meant the most to you?
It's really tough. That's a tough answer because I was so fortunate to win so many big races. The first NDRA race that we won in the fall of 1978 at Atomic Speedway at Knoxville, there was 151 cars qualified there for it. And we sat on the pole. We was the only Yankees there. And I was in Ed Howe's green race car.
With a black cat painted on the hood.
first Yankee to go south of Mason-Dixon to kick their ass. We really did. We sat on a pole and led every lap. And it was in Ed Howe's car. And so that was really big. But, winning the World 100 a third time was probably really special. In 1985, and beating Purvis, because by then he'd got James Finch to help him, and my goodness, James Finch could play ball all new trucks, engines, and everything, and then he was really tough. So he run my tail off. I had to run really hard. I had a good car, and he really had a good car, and I beat him in that race, and that was a good one. And so, but you take the 60,000 win race at Pennsboro, West Virginia. It paid 60,000 win, paid more than the World 100s. But I think the World 100, it's always been the most prestigious race.
Mm-hmm.
First one was in 1971, and they've run it every year since. But then you go and one of the big races I won was the Governor's Cup 250 at Milwaukee, and there was 9,500 people there, and that's a mile paved track, running one in that 14 Dodge Hemi car.
Didn't you almost win Parkersburg and Pennsboro on the same day?
Yeah, I run third in the one and won the other.
And that
won
was
the 60, and the other race paid. I run third in the race that paid 50. Yes.
And you had something to do with how you had your shock set up, or your bars in the back.
Yes. Yeah, that's a big long story. We don't want to go into that, right?
Okay.
You don't want to go into that one.
No, because it says here, Paul Fletcher says, let's see here. So that was a 50,000 race with 10 set officiating. That's how I saw it.
10 set officiating.
I didn't win that race, but I run third in it. But anyway, I did get it moved back over there. But it's a whole long story how that happened. We was getting ready to run the trophy dash and that, but you have to read the book. You got to read the book.
That story's in the book, right?
You won a very unique race too in Concord, 300-lap dirt race, which you don't hear about very often.
That was the only race longer than 100 laps that I know that I can remember that NDRA ever run. That was for 300 laps, and so I was very, very proud of winning that race. That's for sure. And Purvis was on the. I don't know whether Purvis was on the pole or I was, but I know we started on front row together, and he took off in the lead, and I just rode behind him because I had a plan, and I figured I wanted to pit early, and everybody else wanted to pit late, figured their tires wouldn't make it, and I knew the track would take rubber. You sure wouldn't want to pit late because you ain't gonna pass nobody.
Yeah.
So I pitted. I pitted before anybody else. Actually, the guy that ended up second, I can't remember his name now, and he was a local guy that run down there. He pitted before I did. He planned on making 2 pit stops, and he only made one. But I had got by him before the next green or the next caution come out. That's when all Purvis and that's when Freddie Smith blew his motor up. So everybody else pitted about 30, 40 laps after I did, and it was one of the easiest races I ever won in my life because by the time them guys pitted and come back out, the track's like one lane bolted up, got abrasive,
Yeah.
They call it locked down, you know what I mean?
We're talking with Larry Moore as a part of the Kaziski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series. Larry, I got a couple more questions. The whole relationship with you and Billy Howell, what a fortunate relationship for you, because what we didn't really touch on when we were talking about that earlier was the fact that you were able to lean on him with his ability with the dyno and his technical experience to be able to know what to put in your car.
That was so valuable. It's hard to believe. I mean, because I could call him and he could just do it on his dyno and run it. I mean, because he worked with Smokey Unique, and he worked with the drag racer. What was that guy's name? That won Pro Stock in the Chevrolets, and he worked with all kinds of people. In fact, Billy Howell worked with Mark Donahue when they run the Trans Am series, and Billy Howell was the one that come up with the glue and the lug nuts on the wheels. That didn't come from down south; it come from Billy Howell.
But what you were doing on the track, the real world race experience, were you helping him in return to be able to talk to him about what was working and what wasn't?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess I was. I mean, he came and see me race one time up at Mount Clemens, and I won the race, and he was pretty impressed.
Pretty impressed, huh?
Yeah. Seneca was there, and Ed Howe was there, and all them other bad boys from up there. And I think we laughed, most of them.
Do me a favor and tell me that story the first time you met Earl Baltus at Eldora Speedway.
Oh, I don't know the story of the first time I met him. I really don't know about the first time I met him. I know one time I met him. I showed up at the racetrack out in 1967, and I was running a 57 Chevrolet, and it was a late model then. It was a 57 Chevy, and I'd won 5 in a row, and when I come and unloaded, and I was also running a sportsman car, and I was also running a sprint car, so I run 3 classes of car on Sunday afternoon at Eldora then. Earl come down and said, "You're going to run 26 laps today, and everybody else going to run 25. I said, "Oh, crap, we can't do that. What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Just load your car up and go home. So I don't want to talk to you. Just get out of here." I said, "Wait a minute, Earl. I'm going to run them other 2 classes. I mean, why?" He said, "Well, I'll pay you extra $100. I said, "Well, that's better." And he said, and I figured he'd have a caution, so it would be no problem. Well, the first race, he didn't have a caution, and I run second. I run all the way around. They run nonstop. I run second. And then we come back the next week, and he said, we're going to do that again. Well, that race, they had a caution, so I got all the way back around. That was easy. I won. So I won.
He did that a lot to you, though, didn't he? He always kind of stacked things against you, or he seemed to kind of pencil you, or just poke at you with DQing you or not paying you or something.
Well, no, he didn't really like pick on me. He treated everybody the same. He just didn't like anybody to stink up their show.
Right, because you were winning too much and too easily.
Yes. I mean that was the thing. I mean, he was especially hard if he catch a guy that. I remember one of the sprint car guys that he was winning, and he put new cement down, and he told him when as he's going in, he said, now whatever you do, don't put your ramps for your truck on that new cement. Make sure you don't. Well, that guy won race, and I can't remember his name now, Hoddenshell maybe, I don't know, but he won. No, it's Ferkel. It's Rick Ferkel. He come down through with his pickup truck. This was Earl Baldus back in the '60s. You know, he come down through there, and here he had his ramps on that new cement, and he made him load up and leave.
He didn't care who you were; he'd kick you out.
No,
Earl had his own rules.
No, one thing about Earl, I always said if he caught you doing something, he'd give you 30 days in an electric chair for it.
Oh, Larry, I wish we had more time, but our half hour's up, man. I've had a great time talking to you.
We just got started.
I know. Maybe we'll feature you again next year when I can finish the book.
Yeah, we need to get the station to let us do a couple-hour segment.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll be able to trade show next week, so come hook me up and go to Gerald, Arizona shirts. I'll be there part of the time, and I'll have books, and I'll have T-shirts. But it was great. Great speaking to you folks, that's for sure. And the Kaczynskis, boy, I mean, it was hard to outrun, I can assure you that.
Yeah, we've heard that a lot.
That's right.
Hey, if you're ever up on our way, make sure you let us know. We'd love to get a beer with you.
Okay, we'll do that for sure. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Larry.
Okay. Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Boy, are you guys tired now?
That guy will wear you out.
Oh, I'm telling you, I got such a kick. And listen, I don't ever read books. I can't stand reading books. I loved reading this book, and there was 3 separate times in the first 5 chapters I actually laughed out loud. I mean, it was a belly laugh. You and I talked about that one story. I laughed so hard. It's not clean for air. There's no way I can tell that story. But you got to get the book and read it. It's gonna be good. I'll give it to you when I'm done with it. You'll have it done in no time with sitting in dialysis for what is it? 12 hours a week. You sit there on the dialysis chair.
Yeah, it's a must read. If anybody likes racing history, it's a tremendous resource.
Get that Google machine out. On Top of the World, The Life and Times of a Racing Pioneer, Larry Moore. It was written by Dave Argabright and forwarded by Jeff Purvis. Jeff had some amazing things to say about Larry in that forward, and so did Dave, and really just an amazing book. It's got to go into any kind of race collections book. All right, that's going to do it for us today. We appreciate you joining us for the first Kaczynski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt series for this year. We've got a lot of drivers left to go this year, so make sure you tune in every Sunday morning. About 8:30 is when we kick off these interviews. We do appreciate you joining us. Make sure you head over to Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs, the official watering hole of the Front Stretch and a great sponsor of this show, and enjoy all the NFL action for today. This has been the Front Stretch presented by Joe's Karting. Lee Ackerman, thank you, sir, for joining us once again.
Thank you, guys.
And Dirk, we'll do it all again next weekend.
Yeah, we'll do it next week. And remember, if you're up at that PRI show, you can find Larry at the Sweet Manufacturing booth or at Arizona T-Shirts booth and get your book autographed.
I got mine autographed, so get yours. This has been the Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the Front Stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100 plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.